So let's moving to the next session, session 6. So this session will be chaired by Dr. Sam from Cambodia. Dr. Sam, can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you well. Can you hear me?
Yes, okay. Please.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much, Ishiro-san. So, good afternoon, everyone. So, my name is Sirai Sam from Cambodia Academy of Digital Technologies. So, now the share of session 6, titled ICT-related technology and application. So, in this session, we will have 4 presentations two from Brunei, 1 from Cambodia, and 1 from Laos. Okay, so before we start the session, can we handle all the speakers? Please turn on the camera so that we can do the photo session. Yes. Thank you very much. All right. So yes. So before we start the session, I would like to highlight a little bit about the rule of the presentation. So all the speakers, for each speaker, you have 10 minutes of presentation, followed by 5-minute question and answer. So please try to be mindful for your time frame so that we will have time for the question and answer. So for the first presentation, I would like to invite Mr. Sumukpon Anusak from University of Technology Brunei, UTB, to do a presentation titled Automation Sim. So, Mr. Somon, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Sam. I'd like to share my screen now. Can you see that? Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, the sound is clear, yeah?
Yeah.
So for the presentation, I like to say about automation sim. So the word itself might be a bit vague. What do I mean by automation sim? Is the simulation of automated machine. So it's more toward robotics. But anyway, the project is not about robotics. There are some robotics inside, but we do not really concentrate on robotics. We concentrate on the idea of education, actually. So the motivation, I4.0 is coming, and at the moment, I think there is a gap between university and industry in this area. So that is my interest. The component for I4.0 that we would like students to know would be in ICT technology, hardware, software, and what are the components inside would be the workforce, academia, industry. These 2 parties inside the workforce have to do design and manufacturing. So now academia usually involved in the design, like in industry more toward manufacturing. Although the skilled people who in ICT mainly do the design, and engineering probably involve some manufacturing. And when you go to industry, then we do both of these. But that is a gap at the moment, especially when the AR, VR, augmented reality move very fast, and all the deep learning AI move very, very fast. The thing that we teach in university, it seems to be obsolete very fast as well. So that is the motivation for the proposal. So what is the application of automation? It actually in all the domains. You can think about in sport, in production, in logistics, in retail, in everywhere you will see this type of automation that I4.0 will move into it. So the platform for this type of I4.0 for the design part, platform could be in augmented reality, virtual reality, and we do serious game simulation. Serious game here means you try to understand the environment, but not by actually doing it, by actually simulate it first in order to gathering more information before make a decision to implement it, to deploy it. So application cases will be in processing, evaluation, planning, in education, in training, in safety and health. I would say that we find all the application in the type of process everywhere. So for myself, I'm teaching in ICT. So my focus will be in the software part, maybe academia, maybe on the design part mostly. The domain actually can be anything. At the platform, my focus will be on AR, VR simulation and game style. Application can be anywhere. So in the past IVO, of this senior officer from IVO used to give the type of presentation, which I think is very insightful, and I would like to just quickly go into it. When we design a process, right? So we need to think about the customer. We need to think about who we use it. And then we have to look from ourselves, what do we have? From that, what we have, we must have a way to compile them to a certain product that suit the customer. So I think if we can clearly see this process, it will make the design process easy for us. And I think this is very useful thing that I received when we listened to the IVO in the previous IVO. Okay, so from that, I would say that at the moment the gap between industry and university in terms of the workforce skill for I4.0. Hence, I think that maybe it's a good idea that university in Southeast Asia, in ASEAN, should see if we can work together in order to bridge the gap. At the moment, the product and the simulation are done by companies that produce a robot, such as KUKA, or that make product. They develop their own hardware to do it. Now, this type of software are not freely available for university. To come together and build the asset. And in order to save costs, we should focus on open source software, such as Blender, Unity, Unreal, ROS. All these software are free to use for teaching and for research. Some of these software, if you want to make a product to sell, then you need to pay some license. Otherwise, it's free for the exploration and for research part. So what do we do? That we create the asset. So this asset will be the model of sensor, and we will model their functionalities in such a way that it's suitable for a particular product. Right? Such as if you are in the production line, what type of sensor you need in order to carry out a certain product, then we need to develop that type of sensor. But the sensor is not real physical sensor, and it don't need to have a real physical property, but we need to have enough fidelity of the model to fit the if we want to analyze the flow of package, then there must be a sensor that measuring proximity, measuring size, or be able to see certain things. That type of thing need to be modeled, right? But we don't need to model all the physics of it. So that will be the part of asset creation. If we can have asset creation, then we can share the asset. So this will save costs, and then we can use that asset to develop a certain product. And that product can be used by SME. So in this case, the SME will be our end user. And once the product or the asset have been developed and create the product, then we can start to do simulation and to measuring certain property of our plant or of our factory or our production lines. Usually, this type of process, it will be useful when the cost of the production is less than the cost of implementation. The cost of the real production is more than the cost of implementation in the simulation. If we can find the domain like that, then it will be useful to do this. I hope that is quite clear. So, for example, we can develop an asset and then implement all these together, plumbing them together, become a certain simulation environment. Then we can start to simulate and see the property and do analysis on that information before we actually implement it. And that will be the answer for the resource that we have, expertise that we have. We produce the product, and for the particular end user. So we have to identify first what are the end user that we use the product, and then we can go back to all the components. So that will be the idea. So, for example, if the end user in the logistic system, then it will be a kind of thing that we need to model, right? And we need to model in such a way that it has enough fidelity for the task. Similarly for this, if the production is for packing something, then we need to model this in such a way that it captures the fidelity of the task. Don't need to model all the physics, but it has to be enough to capture the fidelity of the task in order to be able to later on analyze them and do the cost analysis before. Okay, the proposal of the project is to develop a collection of shared assets that support the construction of various simulations, workflow such as activity in production line, manufacturing robot, factory automation. By analyzing this outcome, we can gain good understanding before actually building it. What are potential member university that have mechatronics, have course in AR, VR, serious game? Those can be potential course that we can develop and teach in university. Local SME can participate by propose a particular task to be done, and then this task can be modeled and developed as the asset and share among university. Or government unit that looking for I4.0, so those could be potential team member. Okay, so we repeat the information. Objective to develop these assets, that's the main objective. To develop virtual environment and to use this virtual environment in real application, and then to evaluate, document, and publish the findings. These are the main task that will be done. So for those who are interested in this type of area, you can email me and we can discuss further. So this project is less into research, but it's more into developing assets for education purpose. Right, thank you. I share some of the link to the product Unity, and then share some of the picture of the hype cycle in this area. So you can see like digital twin or the smart factory. These are the areas that we are addressed in this presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Samnok. So we have 3 minutes for question. So any question from the floor, please?
Could I ask the questions? Actually, my WebEx don't have the raised hand in my WebEx icon. Thank you very much, Professor Somnuk. Do you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. How are you?
Okay, I'm fine. Very nice to meet you. Actually, you are switching from deep learning and image recognition to the digital twin, isn't it? Right?
Yeah, and also into education more into education.
All right. Actually, in Thailand, at Chulalongkorn University, right now we are very much interested in the digital twin. Actually, we going to have the like 5G private networks, and also gonna like implement the digital twin with a single arm robot and AMR, something like that. And actually, and I think that your project is quite interesting. And but after you do the like automation simulation, do you have to like how you compare the performance of your like your system after you do the simulation?
I think this part need to rely on the end user. That means we need to really get the actual SME to come, and we need to model their process, and then they will be the one who evaluate this and see that if it actually save cost or can improve their process. So it will be more practical.
Okay, so after you do the simulations, then you have to talk with the SME and then factory or something like that, and then like try to compare the performance after that, right?
Yes,
something.
correct. Yeah.
So the your automation simulation is like how can it is possible, like can you explain like the differences between your automation simulation and the digital twin? Because
okay. The digital twin would be more rigorous because it tend to aim for prediction of the actual event that have not occurred yet based on the model, right? It aim for that to use a model to predict the future in the physical world.
Okay.
But in our case, we are a lot less because we don't want to do digital twin. To be able to do that, the physics of the model must be very accurate. Otherwise, it will be impossible to predict the real event. So the physics must be very good. But in our case, we very diluted. We just want the physics to be good enough to predict a certain task, such as a flow, production flow, pipeline, counting, like that only.
Thank you very much, Mr. Samno.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Samno. So with the time frame, so allow me to move for the next presentation. So I would like to invite Mr. Somporn Khattawong from National University of Laos to present about the seamless localization system based on indoor-outdoor environment using reducing your strength for Android platform system. Mr. Somporn, Dr. Somporn, the floor is yours.
Excuse me, actually, I am the representative of Dr. Somporn to present this work.
Okay.
Okay, could you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon from Laos. Thank you very much for having me today. I am delighted to be a representative of the team to present our research work with the topic of seamless localization system based on indoor-outdoor environments using signal strength for Android platform system. We are from University of Professor Cha and Mr. Sanasami from Lao member, and then we have collaborative with international institutions such as with Dr. Lukito and with Dr. Widyawan from Gadjah Mada University, UGM in Indonesia, and then with Professor Dr. Hamamoto in Tokai University. The outline of the presentation include introduction, existing work and implementation and performance of the seamless localizations and the experiment results. Let me start by giving you some introduction and breakdown of the localizations. You may know that mobility tracking has been currently be important need for many people in order to integrate different such as indoor or outdoor conditions together with integrate with some smart systems. Localizations and location awareness is one of the example to implement the system to sense the position in physical and computation environments such as the current location, relative location, the people and the accessible, the device and network connectivity between indoor and outdoor and also overall area. Yeah, from this kind of work, we have a lot of technology and have a lot of things to do in terms of seamless localizations, because this is not new project to implement, but we have tried to find some mechanism to apply to our system. The previous work, maybe they have something that also interesting, and we also try to apply something. You may see from here, maybe they use from GNSS and command filter, GPS and GSM, and use some attached device like Arduino and something for vehicle tracking system. Now we are moving to the implementation and performance of the seamless localizations. The figure that you have noticed from the slide, this one is our case study for the seamless systems. And we have combined between two conditions, such as outdoor and indoor, and also we know that the system also use different technology. Example, indoor we also use the other one, and the outdoor also use the other one. That's why we would like to combine all of them to be a complete system without any obstacle and connection seamlessly. And for our work, we have applied for the Wi-Fi in terms of indoor detection, and then GPS and GSM for outdoor detections. And this one we also have used smartphone based on Android application, and then the application also can detect from outdoor to indoor and vice versa. Here is the integrated system design framework that we have implement. We not just only use for the signal strings, but we have developed some models based on ontology in terms of outdoor, and then outdoor from the scale of the location, and then we have applied some fuzzy logic and probability conditional to apply to the system, and then we have conclude to the receive signal strings for the implementation and performance. And for our results, we also have many things that we have achieved, and this one is one of our project that we also have achieved from the combination between Wi-Fi and GPS. Yeah, this is about the indication of the signal strengths when you move from outdoor to indoor and indoor to outdoor, and then the graph will be slightly increase and decrease depends on your current positions. And we have applied and we have set up some membership degree to apply to the system based on signal strength indicator. Some results from our current work, and now turning our attention to the result of the experimental and then discussion. As you can see in here, we have developed some Android application to detect the localizations and positioning based on outdoor and indoor, and they work seamlessly without any changing or switching to the other application. You just use only one complete system, and then the system just switch for a moment, and then the system will change the situation to the outdoor or indoor or overlap area. It depends on your current positioning that you are standing, example. Yes, and from this one we have developed something, and then maybe you can see from here the outdoor signal detecting from here. This one is the situation that you are outdoor, and then you are moving to the indoor, and then the application will detect that you are outdoor in terms of signal strength, because from this situation, the signal of the GPS and GSM is higher than the other one, because we calculate and we can classify from the provide technology in terms of indoor and outdoor. And then when you move to indoor location, and then the status or the situation will be changed in terms of indoor signal detecting, and then and then when you are moving to the other specific rooms, and then you are able to find the location and the direction to that place based on your destination. Yes. And then during the indoor processing, we also have several kind of technology. Example, we have Wi-Fi, and we also have Bluetooth low energy and pedometer to count our step, and then to calculate that how long from your current situation to the destination. And then, of course, this one is we just focus on Wi-Fi, and then the other one we also will combine all of them. And then the reason that we combine is to be ability for us to the system. Yes. And then here the some results that can be described on the graph, and there's the user that move to the indoor and outdoor, and then the graph will increase and decrease. It depends on your current situation and current your positioning as well. And we have summarize. We have some collect some value that we can calculate from this one, and in terms of signal strengths. And then when you are outdoor, the GPS will be work, and then or will be activated, and then the Wi-Fi will be activated in terms of indoor, and then we'll change the situation. It depends on situation. Yeah, there is our result, and then we are planning to submit this work to the international level. Example, like conference paper that we would like to apply some our outcomes or an achievement to the international level. Come to our conclusion. This one is we have some Android application that the accuracy of the indoor and outdoor is about 98.4, and then 97% in terms of the certainty value of the current location. Yes, and then here is some difference, and then we have done some publication in terms of this project, and then we have also some international paper and international journal that also have published, and then we also have a kind of thing, and this is just a part of our project, and then we have done something, and then we are going to continue our work in the future and with the international collaborative. Okay, thank you so much for your attention, and then end up with my presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Kamla, for your presentation. So we have 4 minutes for question and answer. So Any question from the floor?
Maybe I can ask something.
Yes.
Dr. Kamla, at the moment, what is the accuracy in terms of localization accuracy? The one by 99%. I think probably I'm not sure what that is. That the accuracy based on location localization or based on what criteria?
The accuracy from that value is based on certainty value that you detect from current location, that we collect some data from collaborative, from what? From GPS, sorry, yeah, from GPS.
Yeah,
value.
so it's not the actual location, right? You do not
Yes.
know the actual location. I mean, 1 meters, 10 centimeters. What is the accuracy at that level?
From the level is about 1 meter to 2
1 meters.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other question? So I have one question. In your scenario, you have the GPS and the Wi-Fi. So so you study about the seamless detection of the localization. So in the case that when we go to the building, inside the building, that the Wi-Fi is not connected, in this case, you still use the GPS, right?
We have the other one, as I mentioned, that we have Wi-Fi and Bluetooth low energy and pedometers for indoor. Yes, for outdoor we and sometimes we also use the GSM. What I mean to say is about 4G or mobile signal inside the building also.
Okay. So did you compare about with Wi-Fi or with GSM? So the accuracy of the localization?
Yeah, actually our purpose is not compare with other, but the main purpose of our project is combine the technology that already existing and then just try to let them work together seamlessly in terms of outdoor and indoor, and then also we try to have the alternative for the user in case that if you are enter to the building and there is no Wi-Fi, but of course you still have the other one to conduct your system and then to continue your work. To continue your system to the destination. But yeah, the accuracy also we also think about that in terms of indoor. As I said earlier, that we have around 97%. This one is about from certainty values of the current location. Yes.
So thank you very much, Dr. Kamla, for your presentation. Very good presentation. And so now we move to the next presentation. So I would like to invite Dr. Malais Shetty Sheikh Abdul Hamid from University Technology Brunei to do presentation on teaching the Arabic language to children using a phonic education digital mobile application. So Dr. Malai, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our session. Allow me to share my screen. All right. Can you see my screen? Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay,
please.
all right, good. Okay, first of all, a very good afternoon to everyone, and thank you for listening to my presentation. Today, my presentation is about teaching the Arabic language to children using a phonics educational digital mobile app. Now, for my presentation, I'm the project leader, and my name is Dr. Zeti, and I also have a project member, and her name is Mrs. Aklima Harris from the UK, and she'll be doing a co-presentation with me in a bit. Okay, just a little quick background that I work at University Technology Brunei, and you can see some of credentials on your screen. And this is my co-presenter for this afternoon, Mrs. Aklima Harris. Okay, moving on to my presentation. Today, I will talk about, my presentation will cover the following things. Firstly, problem statement, and then status of Arabic language, objectives of phonics program. I'll cover literature review, reading in Brunei, and use of digital mobile app, and of course, ongoing collaboration. So now, talking about the problem statement, what is the problem statement that we will share? Firstly, it's to promote reading through an educational phonics program using a mobile or digital platform, and to support digital literacy for language learning. Now, currently, one of the world's most spoken first language includes Arabic in the ranks top 5th. If you look at the number of speakers, for example, 319 million speakers are first language speakers of Arabic, and my co-presenter will talk about this later on. Now, what is the purpose of having a phonics program, you may ask? We have two main objectives. Firstly, we like to provide support for reading to children through a phonics approach to build literacy skills for the Arabic language. And secondly, is to provide support for digital literacy through mobile or digital platform to prepare students for the 21st century. Now, according to the literature, there has been some research to prove reading skills, for example, and phonics is one of the things that we highlighted. So my study has also been, has resonance in the US, where in the US, they talk about dual language immersion, as according to Ryan 2013. And another study is by Harvard University by Paula Uccelli. She talks about academic language in 2014. And the next one is also a continuation of the academic language, which helps promote phonics in reading, is by Aguilar, Uccelli, and Galloway in 2019. And of course, in talking about academic language again in English only settings. And for my own personal study, I touch on cultural literacy as social cultural practice in 2021. We also talked about how literacy is very important for children and it's part of the culture. In order to learn a language, you also have to learn the culture of the language. So that was part of my study, which I presented in 2021. So that is my location where I come from. Now, on development in phonics, okay, an overview over the last 20 years. Why phonics? Back in 1965, it started with synthetic phonics and it's been invented by Blaise Pascal in 1655. And then we moved on to something called a whole language approach. And this was developed by Goodman and Smith in 1970s. And they talk about the simple view of reading from 1986. For example, in the US, they talked about balanced literacy. And in the UK, we talked about searchlights. It wasn't until in 2020 to 2006 when, according to the Rose report, a lot of people talked about how literacy is so important and you have to go back to synthetic phonics, okay? So part of the reason why we're doing this, we'll share with you in a couple of more slides. Like to move on now? Okay, so what are the issues that we face here in Brunei? Some of the common issues are that there are low reading skills in Brunei. And daily communication is always localized in languages such as Malay and English. In Brunei, Malay is the first language and English is the second language. Of course, there's always something called reluctancy in reading. So we always have this issue about reading, and any kind of phonics program will definitely help children to read better, to read faster. Okay, so if I just go back to reading scores in Brunei, according to PISA 2018, 48% of Brunei students average scored less than OECD standards of only attainment of level 2 in reading. And on that note, any kind of phonics program, as I mentioned, will definitely enhance your reading skills and support any digital literacy. So if I were to share this chart or results back in 2018, Brunei scored at 408, which if you look at this here, is way below OECD standard, and we are much below by 400 and, well, about 87 in a sense, okay? So this is where we scored in reading. So reading is definitely an issue for a lot of children in Brunei. So now, going to what we think, we propose. If you teach phonics using a digital or a mobile app, it will definitely enhance your reading skills and also foster your digital literacy skills, all right? So the rationale being that if you use it cross-language and cross-cultural to learning another language, example, the Arabic language, you will definitely improve your reading. And rationale two being that, for example, if you use phonics program for faster language acquisition, you can now do it using mobile or digital apps, because this is now the future, especially in the era of the pandemic and COVID-19. We are staying at home, and the best thing we can do is to teach children via online, and digital apps are probably the next best thing. So now, our program, okay, in phonics is that it will focus on the 4 basic language skills. We're using a holistic approach. You focus on listening, on speaking, reading, and writing. And if you look at worldwide, the issue of illiteracy in Southeast Asia, for example, about 678 million people in the world of Asia, in the whole Southeast Asia, but the literacy rates are about 68 million. That's quite a big amount of illiteracy going on in Asian countries as a whole. And for that, I would now like to pass on to my colleague, Mrs. Aklima Harris. She will then talk about a phonics program that's already running, and she will tell you more about this. Mrs. Aklima, I will pass on to you. Thank you very much for listening. I'll pass on to you now.
Thank you very much, Ziti, for your kind introduction. As explained, my name is Aklima, and I am speaking as the founding director of FlexiPhonics. So FlexiPhonics is a new program that's new to the market. It's an interactive phonics program that uses songs, stories, and actions to help children learn how to read whilst having fun. Our rationale came from noticing that there's a problem in the market at the moment with the majority of Muslims. 85% of Muslims are non-native Arabs, and a lot of the programs that teach Arabic, especially to early learners, are in Arabic. So only 15% are able to tap into them services, and the rest of us, 85% non-native Arabs, struggle. And what we do is we have to wait until our children are at a learning age, maybe 5, 6, when they can pay attention more, and then we send them to school, mosque, Ugama, etc., where in which they can sit and learn the conventional way. So because Arabic is the second most globalized language in the world, we decided it's extremely important that we create a program to be able to tap into young minds. So the current whole word approach in Arabic, it results in the loss of prime learning time. And our children, as we're aware, early years learning, there's so much research to suggest that between 0 to 5 is the time they learn the most. So to be able to maximize during that time, it's extremely crucial. So FlexiPhonics is the cornerstone of good education system that understands the correlation between reading, understanding, and academic success. So we use the strategies like listening skills, kinesthetic learning. We put it all together to make sure we're catering to all of our learners. We have a team put together. So myself, as I mentioned, I'm an international educator. I'm currently in Brunei. I was teaching in UAE before this, and before that in the UK. I'm an Arabic specialist, and I am the founding director of GEMS Nursery in the UK. I also have a team of international teachers, Montessori specialists, child psychologists, and speech and language therapists, ensuring that our program is a holistic approach to teaching children. These are the learning outcomes that we hope that our children attain after our program, and we have results to show. So our program has been piloted in the UK and in UAE, and we found that children have a better grasp of the Arabic language, recognition, pronunciation, and letter formation than those who are conventionally taught. If you'd like further information on this, you can refer to our website. We're just for a summary, Phonics is a program. It's an ideal way to start Arabic literacy reading program for very young children, and it's proven to bring amazing results and get children reading in a very short space of time. Our approach is the most effective way to turn content into something meaningful. With songs, stories, games, children can learn their correct letter sounds, pronunciations, while having fun, thus laying a strong foundation for their future. We're really excited at the moment to be doing a collaboration with Dr. Ziti and UTB. The findings of our research proposal will be groundbreaking in informing language pedagogies and improving literacy skills in Brunei and throughout Asia. We're also looking to collaborate with anybody else in this forum, so it's really exciting hearing what you have currently going on, and we're looking to build more partners throughout Asia to trial our program and to see how our phonics can be used through multiple languages. Please don't hesitate to get in touch with us on FlexiPhonics on our social media pages or on our email, flexiphonics@gmail.co.uk. Thank you very much for giving me this platform, and if you have any questions, by all means, please don't hesitate to ask.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Malai and Ms. Alima, for your presentation. So now Do you have any question? I would like to give the floor for question. Yeah, please.
Can I ask the question?
Yeah, go ahead, please, Karen. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Malaizeti and Dr. Haklima.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would like to know what is exactly do you need? Is it application software or is it something with hardware or?
Okay, currently we are
because you have data, right?
Yeah. We're currently running the program and we're turning it into an app. So what happens is that we will turn the program into, it's currently being digitalized, so we're turning it into an application.
Okay.
So all the program, the software, all the things that we've got in the program for teaching phonics, which used to be done traditionally, we're now moving into an app. So anybody around the world can use the app, download the app, and also have the same kind of element of information to do better in phonics, using phonics approach.
Okay. Yeah, because I've worked with one of my ex-students in the area of using Kinect for deaf students or deaf children or something like that. But okay, this is something else, right?
It's definitely something else. It's a program where you can actually teach it to children. But we're now going digital. So we're going towards digitalization. So this will be provided on our app that we're currently building. So we put everything on an app and anyone can learn phonics languages by just downloading the app. And it will help you learn languages faster. In this case, we're focusing on Arabic language to start first. And through our research there, we'll proceed to other languages. So that's the whole program.
Okay, now I understand. Yeah. So you are creating practically a mobile app for your phonics.
Yes, to teach reading for children. Yeah, for different to cater for different.
For Arabic language. Yeah.
Yes, correct. To start with Arabic, definitely. Yeah.
Okay,
Mrs.
thank
Haklima?
you very much.
Welcome. Mrs. Haklima, is there anything you want to add on? Mrs. Harris?
No, I think you've covered everything. Thank you.
Okay.
Hi, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Nectech. Just wondering, is there any other apps, like already, the apps that already teach Arabic? Is there any other app available already? And if so, how is your app different than, the one that's already existed in the market?
Okay. Mrs. Haklima?
At the moment, yeah. So at the moment, there's currently nothing available that caters to teaching Arabic to earlier learners. So there is a lot of Arabic programs. There's a lot of early years programs that teach English Arabic to be taught by using phonics in an early years program in English. So this is the first.
That's the difference with our app. Correct. Yeah, because English is universal to a lot of people, and it's probably the most international language around the world. So by doing it via English platform, anybody can learn. Even if a child can learn it quickly and navigate it. We make it so user friendly as well. Even a child can run through it. Even my 3-year-old, 4-year-old can just go through the app, and even my 3-year-old knows how to use TikTok. So imagine the future for the children nowadays. Yeah.
So the user can be any nationality, like who just wants to learn, who understand English and would like to learn Arabic.
That's right. Absolutely. Yes, that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any more questions?
We always look forward to collaborators as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I think there are no more questions. So thank you very much.
Just a comment, maybe. It's quite interesting. Maybe we can even extend this app to different other directions.
Yeah. Yes, it's definitely.
We call Flexifonics.
If
we launched with Arabic, we are very interested. The idea and concept behind Flexifonics.
I would like to work together with you, right?
Oh, okay.
Because
we would love you to join us.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
we have.
Concept is that
because I have also a quality.
Therefore, it's not limited.
I have also a quality. We have augmented reality expertise.
Okay, it's good. That's good. We're always looking forward to that. Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for listening. Thank you.
Very much.
Have a good
Thank you,
day.
Dr. Malai.
All right. All right. Thank you.
So, yes, so now we move to the last presentation.
Thank you.
So I would like to invite Mr. Lee Hyung Bung from Cambodia Academy of Digital Technology from Cambodia, who will present on the presentation titled Multitask Sequence Prediction for Natural Language Processing. Mr. Lee Hyung, the floor is yours. Mr. Lee Hyung, you are on mute? No? We did not hear you. So, Mr. Lee Hyung? I did not hear Mr. Lee Hyung.
You're unmuted, but there appears to be a problem with the microphone on your end.
So, Mr. Lee Hyung, do you hear us?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. We hear you.
Trên trong mình. Nó full screen này.
Okay, so Mr. Lee Hyung, you can start now. Your screen and also your voice. We hear your voice.
Okay, I'm going to start now. Good afternoon, I'm Lee Hyung from Cambodia of Digital Technology, and I'm glad to be here today to present about my project, which is called Multitask Sequence Prediction for Natural Language Processing. So I have divided my presentation into the following points. First of all, the introduction of this project. Secondly, the related work. I'll explain briefly about the existing multitask system. Thirdly, I'll give an overview of the dataset and method, and then I'll explain, interpret the result I interpret the result from the experiment, and finally the conclusion. Without further ado, let's move on to the introduction. First of all, let's start the definition of multitask learning. Multitask learning is a learning paradigm in machine learning that aims to leverage useful information in multiple related tasks to help improve the generalization performance of all the tasks. And the transformer architecture, which used in the proposed model, is a novel encoder-decoder architecture that based on attention mechanism for transforming one sequence into another without the use of recurrent network. For example, recurrent neural network and long short-term memory networks. So different study always claim that transformer outperform LSTM on multiple tasks. For example, language translation, ASR, and many more. But is there really an improvement from LSTM to transformer? So the problem with the LSTM is that it cannot be trained in parallel due to the sequential processing behavior of the recurrent network. And this results in higher demand of resource to train and longer computation time than attention-based model. So we are interested in extending the existing cascaded multitask system based on LSTM architecture with a sophisticated architecture that is transformer. And we are also interested in studying the behavior of cascaded multitask learning on different NLP problems, including morphosyntactic tagging, machine translation, and constituent syntactic analysis. Now I'll explain the existing multitask sequence prediction system. So the hidden state of the encoder are passed into the decoder, and the hidden state of the previous decoder also pass into the following decoders, and it produces the predicted output. And the loss, we can get the loss by comparing the predicted output and the expected output. And the global loss can be computed by the summation of all the losses. Since we have 3 experiments, first of all, I would like to introduce the Tiger dataset, which is for the morphosyntactic analysis. And Tiger was annotated with morphosyntactic information. It takes German sentences as an input, and we will try to predict the post tag and morpho. And we will use this on the transformer architecture. Secondly, the WMT14 for the language translation, we take the English as English sentence as an input, and the remaining language, for example, Czech, French, and German, as the for the prediction. And finally, the WFJ dataset. We also have 3 different datasets for this WFJ. First of all, the base version, then the byte encoding 16K merge operation, and finally the byte encoding 32K merge operation. We take the English sentence as an input again, and for this constituent pass-3 task, we would like to predict the post tag, segmentation in chunk, and the pass-3 in sentence format. So let's move on to the method, the proposed method in this project by extending the transformer into the multitask system. So as I mentioned, as I showed earlier, in this case, we would like to remove the LSTM encoder and replacing it with the transformer encoder. Basically, the results that we get from the encoder output are from LSTM are different from the encoder output from transformer. So in this case, we filtering the encoder output to the exact same thing as the transformer, as the LSTM one. And at this point, the rest of this process is identical to the existing system. Now let's move on to the result. These are the best hyperparameters used for the existing system. And if not mentioned otherwise, we'll be using this hyperparameter. And the system was built on the FAIRSEQ framework. And before we can evaluate on the machine translation and pass-3, we need to do some post-processing on the generation data. That is removing the BPE unit, which is the double add sign and as well as the sequence separator sign. The same also applies to the constituent path tree. Now let's take a look at the result we get from the LSTM. So this is the lowest result we got from the existing system, the loss. So I would like to point out that for loss, the lower is actually better. So if we use the exact same hyperparameter, as you can see that we get a significant amount, significant higher loss than the LSTM1. So we did hyperparameter tuning to get the better result. And the better result still only a little bit better than the default hyperparameter. And as you can see in the accuracy for POSTAC, we get like 98 and 93 for POSTAC and Morpho respectively for LSTM. But for transformer, the best one we only get like 34 and 22 for POSTAC and Morpho respectively. For the language translation, as you can see, the evaluation is based on BLEU score. So the BLEU score between 20 to 29 is actually, we can get a gist of it, but there are many grammatical errors. And for the BLEU score between 30 to 40, it's a good translation. And as you can see, from the English to Czech, that is a single task translation. We got like 29 BLEU score, and from English to German, we get like 31 BLEU score. But for the multitask setting, multitask translation from English to Czech and then to German, we only get like 28 and 27, and then 30 for German, and 26 for Czech. So the single task one is actually better. So we would like to try to add another language, which is French. And then we can see that the result is still the same. Like the single task still perform better than the multi-task one for Czech and German. As you can see previously, like 29, but now it's only like the best one only 26. And for German, the best one is around 31, but in this case, the best one is only around 27. As for the result for the WSJ, the constituent path tree, we can see that there are 3 data sets, but the by pair encoding 32K merge operation actually got the best loss, which means the lowest loss for both the 2-task and 3-task model. But for the accuracy, we can see that the BPE perform better on POSTAC, but for path tree, the base one actually perform better. As you can see for the 3-task one, the base one actually perform better. So we did an evaluation on the Evolve, and we can see that for the 2-task and 3-task, we can see the F1 measure for the path tree is actually better for the base one, but the BPE 32K actually perform worse. And in conclusion, for the first experiment, the Tiger corpus, we conclude that the problem is more related to the hyperparameter optimal choice, not the implementation. And that is not a trivial problem as long as the transformer encoder and LSTM decoder hybrid is kept. And for the second experiment on language translation, we prove that to only learn to translate multiple languages does not perform better than a single task counterpart. The same conclusion also applied to the constituent path tree based on the outcome of the 2-task and 3-task model. We believe that the chunks are actually not improving the result of POSTAC and path tree. And that is the end of my presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lee Hyun. Okay, so we have 4 minutes left for question. So I give the floor for the question, please.
I can ask something. Can you give a bit explicit semantic of the task that you have? Can it be pinpoint? What is the semantic of the task?
You mean the objective of the task?
No, the when you say multitask, right?
Yes.
That's like a subjective, or you can pinpoint into a real semantic meaning of it. What is the meaning of the task there?
So as I did give the definition of multitask learning, it's actually learning paradigm in machine learning that aims to leverage useful information in multiple related tasks to help improve the generalization performance of all the tasks. So let's say, for example, language translation. We have English as an input and other European language as the task that we need to predict to learn, and that multitask are Czech, German, and French. So we would like to learn.
Okay, so you like the model to be able to train on one task, apply to another task. Is that the concept, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. All right. Can you explain a bit about your transformer architecture? How many heads are there?
So you mean the hyperparameter for training?
Okay. From your diagram, right? It looks like your transformer output from the encoder, then go directly into 3 branches.
Yes.
Yes, is that right? Yeah. So so that output from transformer is from one head.
No. Actually, we because this was based on the existing system that based on LSTM. Okay, so LSTM take the hidden state as an input for the decoder. So we need to filtering out the encoder output. For example, like the positional encoding, we don't need that. Do you understand?
So the LSTM, when we output, we can specify that we need the sequence plus the state, correct? We can specify in the LSTM that we want the state and the sequence that coming with each state as well. So I think there's some difference between transformer and LSTM. So what you explain is that then you change LSTM to be transformer so that you adjust the output in such a way that it matches with the LSTM before, right?
That's it.
The three model there. Can you but that is not what you mean by multitask, right? When you say multitask, you actually mean the actual task of doing French, English, thing like that. Is that correct?
So for the task, I mean the decoder. For example, this decoder for example, language translation. Suppose that it is language Czech. Decoder 2, for example, German.
Okay.
For example.
Thank you. So this so that is what you mean by multitask. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. So thank you very much, Mr. Lee Hyun. So now it's the end of the presentation, and thank you for the fruitful and very informative presentation, and thank you for all. So now we come to the end of session 6. So if you have any questions, you can contact directly to the presenter. So RHS, I would like to thank to all, and I would like to conclude the session. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sam, and
thank you.
Our speakers.